Peace be with everybody that arrived here. In this video, I'm going to add in to the already great video that JP did about the situation here in Brazil, so the truth can be out there for everyone to see. So thank you, JP, for bringing attention to this situation here. I simply love the way that you use humor to get around YouTube censorship these days. So keep doing what you do as long as you can. Now, to understand how we got into this situation here, we've got to see what are the powers of enslavement that we got today. So, we got here the legislative power. They are those that are responsible to create the laws. The congressmen, the senators, they are those here that create the laws. We have also the executive power. They are those that are responsible to execute the laws. We also have the judiciary power. They are those responsible to judge the laws and judge the citizens based on its laws. Also, we have the media. The media is a power that was supposed to bring the truth out to the public. However, nowadays they bring the narrative that the highest payer tells it to do, tells it to say. And also, we have finally here the military power. The military power, they are supposed to be a moderator power, to be those that protect its citizens and intervene in the other powers when it is necessary, like in the case when the sovereignty of a nation is threatened by those that infiltrated. So these are the 5 major powers that we have here, and now they are being used as a powers of enslavement, and you will understand shortly what is happening here in Brazil. So what happened in Brazil is this. For 16 years, we had a far-left government that was able to take power despite of the fact that the majority of the people in here are religious and conservative. So despite of this fact, still the far-left candidate was always able to win the elections, and for 16 years they were able to remain in power. For these 16 years, they were able to basically choose and put into the power on the judiciary power all the judges that they wanted. So basically all of the judges were chosen by those presidents from the far left government. Also, they were able to have a lot of contracts with the media, so they were able to buy most, if not all, of the media here in Brazil. And they were able to also influence the legislative power to have most of the congressmen and senators for their own sake. And if that's not enough, they were also able to influence the top generals of the military power to be in accord with them. So for 16 years that happened. However, something changed really fast when the top executive of the far leftist government, because of so many scandals of corruption and money laundering, because of this, he was imprisoned. He was arrested for all of these corruption schemes that happened, and it came out to the public. And because of his arresting, for the first time in many years, a right candidate was able to get into the executive power, and that is our Trump, called Bolsonaro. He was able to get into the power, the executive power, as the president for the first time in so many years. And that was also because of the medium was not the traditional conventional media, because the internet has helped many people to spread their own information, and the traditional medium started to convert into the internet and decentralized media as the internet that we have today. So because of the internet, because of the imprisonment of the previous far leftist candidate, this right candidate was able to win the election through the media, through the internet, and he was the first right-wing candidate in the executive power as the president for a first time in a long time. But as soon as he started to be the president here in Brazil, the judiciary power started to fight against him in many situations there. And while he was into power, the judges in the judiciary power, they were able to remove the guy that was arrested for corruption from the prison. He was removed from prison. He was also had his criminal records wiped clean, enough for him to run the election against this right-wing candidate that was in power for the first time in so many years. And this very trustworthy voting machine that we have here, that are electronic, was able to once again pull a miracle out, because despite of the fact that he was just out of the jail, despite of the fact that most people in Brazil are conservatives, they are right-wing people, religious, despite of that fact, the guy that just came out of the jail was able to overcome and win the election against the great administration that the right-wing candidate has been done for 4 years, despite of the fact of all the problems that the world had in 2020, 2021. Still, he was the far leftist candidate that just came out of the prison, was able to receive the most votes in the history of Brazil, and he was elected the president once again. The same guy that was in prison just 1 year back. When this happened, of course, at the same time, the congressmen, for the first time ever, was able to be selected. A large portion of it, were selected by the people as a right-wing congressman and senators. And still, apparently, those that voted for all of these congressmen and senators apparently didn't vote for the president that chose them, because they chose to put the guy back again into the power. So these voting machines are very trustworthy, if you think so, and we cannot say it otherwise, of course. Now, when this happened, so the right-wing citizens, those that were concerned about the situation in Brazil, they ran towards the headquarters of the military, asking for some form of intervention, some form of rescue from this system that was being implemented in Brazil. And most people, a lot of people actually, went into the headquarters all over the cities in Brazil. The biggest protests and manifestations happened here in Brazil, as I have never seen in my life, and they were asking for the military to intervene. However, we know that the left are some people that are able to do some strategical things, and the leftist citizens were able to infiltrate those that were in the headquarters and influence those to do what happened there in January 8th here in Brazil, just like basically it happened in the United States with Trump on January 6th. So they were able to infiltrate and influence people to do what happened there. And because of that, the media, that is heavily controlled by the leftists, started to attack the blue people, the people that are right-wing, and also the judiciary power started to attack the media from those that are right-wing citizens, and they started to censor those biggest congressmen and people that were saying the things that needed to be said, that it is the truth. And because of this situation here, a lot of people were censored, a lot of people had to flee Brazil, just like the president, the previous president, the right-wing president, had to flee Brazil as well. And a purge happened in the media, in the internet, of channels that are defending and questioning the situation of Brazil. And despite of all of this, the military, because they are trained to obey orders from above, the generals did nothing, and those that are below the generals also did nothing, and they remained as they are right now. So the generals did nothing. So the people in Brazil, basically, because of this, they are now under a heavy threat from all of the system that is basically against all of those that are close to or related to the thoughts of the right-wing candidate. They were able to, because of this, all of this situation, to criminalize right-wing candidates or right-wing thought thinker people. And if you see what happened in the media, they won't tell you the truth. However, I got some information here about what happened to those that were there at that moment in time in January 8th. So most of these people, especially those that did nothing about on this day, basically some people that weren't even there. What happened? They were arrested. About 1,000 or 1,200 people were arrested. They were put into, let's put it that way, re-education camps, just like in China. And they were left here for a couple days without, some say, without food and water, which is absurd for these days that we are living now. So we have some videos about this. People were really telling about this stuff. I definitely cannot put this video on YouTube without losing this video or my channel. And after this, they were taken into prison cells, and take a look of what happened next. So this happened right after they were taken into prison. So they are calling them scammers. So scammers arrested in Brasilia are taken to cells and against this problem here. So they were receiving by force, some of them by force, the jab. What else? Arrested, they are calling themselves terrorists. Take a look. Are forced to take the thing against the thing in prison. Bolsonaristas, so they're calling this because they are the people that are thinking about the right and conservatives. After coup acts, they were receiving the thing against the thing by force. And lastly here, also, scammers arrested in Brasilia are taken to cells, receiving the thing against the thing, and hygiene kit. So as you can see here, if you are arrested here in Brazil, you will be forced to take something that is experimental, and you cannot say no, otherwise we don't know what will happen to you. And this is the third thing that is happening here in this now dictatorship, and if this is not something that happens against this system that we are seeing right now, we will definitely most likely see a worst case scenario, not just for Brazil but for the whole world. Because if communism or socialism, this thought thinking, this idea is not criminalized very soon, then we will end up having what the Bible say about, which is the Antichrist government. Because if you start to think, just turn upside down the communism star, and you will see here the basically Satanism emblem here, the pentagram, that is hidden in front of us, our eyes here, in the communism star. Also, the guy that is in power right now, his congressman and all of the people that are working with him, they are from the same part, and their symbol is this one. So as you can see, is exactly the same as the communism star, and they are this people here. And if you can see this star here, it is quite similar to the star of this country here that we cannot also say about it, but it's the same star here that matches the symbol. So if this thought, this socialism is not criminalized very soon, then we will enter very soon in the world the government that we call the Antichrist government. And there's only one way out of this, that is either through death or through what we call in the Bible the rapture of the church, the rapture out of this earth from all of those that believes in it. So this will be the only way out before it, and after it, after the rapture, there will only be death to be saved out of this situation, this government that will be the Antichrist government. Otherwise, people will be arrested, and if they are arrested, they will be eventually forced into taking things that they don't want. Example as the mark of the beast that will eventually come in a Antichrist government, and the Antichrist will impose this, just like people being arrested right now in Brazil are being forced to take something that they don't want. So I hope that this has explained for you what is happening here in Brazil. I hope that this video isn't censored, so perhaps I will only leave this video out for a day or two at most before the algorithm can take out this video for me. And I hope that you spread this message in a way to all of those that want to see the truth out while we still can. So fight for now, or cry for later. This is the message from a Brazilian that is living here and seeing the situation with my own two eyes. Maranatha, I hope that you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior very soon, because we are seeing things getting down harder and harder as we get through time here. Eventually, the Antichrist will come into scene to govern the whole world through a new world order. But before that, we believe the rapture will take all those believers that are faithful out of this earth before the Antichrist to come, as it is written in 2 Thessalonians 2. Maranatha to all of those. I hope that you are blessed. I hope that you can be there with us in the rapture once it happens. Maranatha.